should have tuned my guitar before I pushed go. For life. You can't see that yet. Ah, jeez. This is the part where I tune my guitar. Interesting. Howdy. Welcome to Hashtag WrestlePals. I guess I should stop playing now. Your weekly dose of ... stupid. I use the term weekly very loosely in times like these because God knows when I'm going to do another show. Put this away. Hey guys, Weird WrestleMania. Hey Christopher, how you doing? Is that the only fan at WrestleMania in the background? Maybe. Very weird WrestleMania. We'll get to that, but let's talk about Liv first, okay? She had a great showing at WrestleMania against Natty. That was a really good match on the kickoff. Had a really great showing the following night with Asuka on Raw. She's on the way up, ladies and gents. Let's not forget that hashtag Liv loves Justin. I don't care what's going on in the world today. The truth of the matter is that Liv loves Justin. We're going to probably be short today because I just kind of decided that I wanted to get the show on the road. Hey, support Effie. I love this shirt. I love this shirt. Everything about it. I love the way it looks. I love the message. I love the support that it offers. And I love Effie. So to me, that's an all in all win after win after win after win, daddy. Go ahead. I'm going to start opening my thoughts about WrestleMania, specifically the stuff I be loving and stuff. Clearly a mixed bag because a lot of people, as usual, hated it, yet still watched it, and it definitely stirred some heated arguments, I think, in part because everybody's going crazy, but also in part because people are passionate, and it's, I don't know, man, it's just bizarre. Like, I haven't watched much WWE wrestling at all in the last couple weeks because the Raws and SmackDowns leading up, while they were interesting and different and unique, they weren't great. They weren't, the promos were outstanding, but that's all stuff I can watch afterwards. Joe says, this WrestleMania was better than at least 3 of past Manias, 9, 11, 13, and WrestleMania 2000. I mean, yeah. Uh, was it the best Mania ever? Nah, man. No. Uh, was it the worst Mania ever? Not even close. Um, I mean, 30 is still my favorite. I think the card for this year's Mania had potential to destroy all things. And the moments that could have been. Let's start with the moment that should have been the moment. Um, Drew McIntyre winning the WWE Championship finally. Solid match with Brock. Friday and next Monday are supposed to be live at the PC. This is Vince's way of giving DeSantis a stay-at-home order. As Steve Austin salute. I'm surprised nothing's going to be done about this. Definitely not best, but far surpasses expectations. Yeah, 30 is still my favorite. It has everything I want in a WrestleMania. Even rewatching Cena and Wyatt a couple weeks ago, 30 is the best and WrestleMania 9 is the worst. Nathan would disagree if I knew where he was. Nathan, if you're out there, feel so bad for Drew not getting the crowd. Yeah, and I mean, and that's the thing. He gets the big win. I saw an interview with him. It was probably for WWE, where he was like, I mean, this was always how it was going to go. Something would happen because there's no way it was going to happen the way it usually does for everybody else. It was believable, his match. It's funny because like I was texting back and forth with my brother, and he was convinced that Brock was going to retain, and I was like, "There's no way." Like, all you have to do is watch TV and see that Drew's winning. Like, this is happening for him. But you compare the matches of the two championships, McIntyre versus Lesnar, and Goldberg versus Strowman, and they're very similar. And feel-wise, they should be. They both not Lesnar and McIntyre didn't need the crowd. That Drew's moment needed the crowd. Drew's moment would have been bigger. Whereas Lesnar and Strowman was far and away my least favorite match. It was the one match I didn't like. There's nothing positive I can say about it other than it being short. It needed the crowd badly. That match needed it very badly. Because that can, in that like Rock and Hogan vein, where if you watch Rock and Hogan without the sound, it's not quite down to what Strowman and Goldberg did, but it's that same vibe. Like Rock and Hogan needed the crowd because they weren't about to put on a clinic. Goldberg and Strowman were never going to put on a wrestling clinic. Well, neither were Goldberg and Reigns. But I think Goldberg and Reigns would have been like a fight, an acceptable fight, whereas this was not. I mean, it got the job done. Strowman's your new Universal Championship. Yay, let's see what happens from that. I mean, there's a lot of things that could be happening from this. And Drew McIntyre is your WWE champion. Super, super duper happy. But the weird thing I have here is knowing that everybody knows it was taped. On Monday, why did they have that extra segment? Like the thing that happened after the main event. Why did they pitch it to us that way? Like a lot of people, Big Show, up and coming talent. I have no problems that it was Big Show. I have no problem if he has a feud with Big Show either. My problem is with the way they pitched it to us. Like this was something that happened afterwards. Why couldn't it have just been on Raw? Like, why are we saying that this happened after WrestleMania? Who cares? Like, I guess the idea that he supposedly fought Big Show 20 minutes after he defeated Lesnar, I guess that's the thing we're supposed to take away from it. Whatever. I'm okay. I'll tell you why I'm okay with Big Show. Show and Drew had a solid old school 10-minute main. Yeah, agreed. The match isn't the problem. And Show can wrestle. I think we want Drew to have a reign, right? So why would we immediately put in somebody new that everybody's going to gripe about getting buried because Drew's not dropping the title, right? So I don't know, man. Like I still need to try to stop trying to get into people's heads because I can't. I, again, that was my negative take on it. Is I don't understand the spin. Other the match is whatever, Big Show, whatever. That is what it is. It's fine. Um, let's talk about some of the other matches. We talked about Liv, which I think was super important. Her having the big win against Natty, and then the great showing against Asuka, where she was getting put over afterwards on Twitter and on the show, and I think that speaks volumes for Liv going forward. Other matches that really stuck out: Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley was outstanding. I can make a case if you remove the two elephants in the room, you remove those. I think that Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair was my favorite wrestling match. Depending on how long the pandemic takes, could potentially see Brock getting it back and Drew beating him again at Summer. Yeah, that's true. That is true. God, I hope this is all over by August. Please let it be over by August. All right. So let's talk about again. Well, so very solid SmackDown Women's Championship match. Had potential to be hot garbage. Five people, and in this circumstance where you kind of, again, I really think the only absolute dud on the whole card was the Universal Championship match. That one was just, I wasn't feeling it in any way. I feel like the ladder match probably should have been changed, the triple threat ladder match, especially once, again, I saw people complaining that it wasn't tag teams. It's like, well, a ladder match isn't a tag team match anyway. So, like, what's your real gripe? Like, that's a weird gripe. But I do think it shouldn't have been a ladder match. It feels like them unnecessarily putting risk on. Now, remove the current situation and have all three teams there in a TLC or ladder match. I think that would have been magical. And it is exactly what I would have wanted months ago. But things change. I understand you're trying to have the match separate itself from the rest of the pack, but it was just, that one was bizarre without the crowd. It was great, but it was bizarre without the crowd. It just didn't feel right. And then the weird finish. We had the absolute kickoff, like the very first match, the first match of WrestleMania was the Kabuki Warriors defending against Bliss Cross Applesauce, which puts Asuka a little bit on a losing streak until Monday, where she beat Liv. But we have new women's tag champions, first ever 2-time champions in Bliss Cross Applesauce. So I'm into that. And that was a solid open. I was pretty much into that. I was pleased with most of the matches didn't need the crowd, which is great. That's a good sign for all the wrestlers. Like all of the matches kept me into the matches. Like I said, I hate to keep dumping all over the Universal Championship match, but that was the one. We got to see Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan in a clinic. That was great. Drew Gulak was on the open against Cesaro. That was great. I wish I could care about women's tag. It just doesn't get the time right now. And it is the one thing I was worried about when they announced the division, was that it wasn't going to get the time. But right now it should absolutely, I mean, if they insist on continuing to do not only live programming, but programming, they need to devote some more time to it. Might as well. Let's do this. Let's start showcasing some of the other teams. Like, the division just isn't very deep, even though it should be if you include NXT. Best Sami there is. This is the best Sami Zayn. I love this Sami Zayn. And now he's the Intercontinental Champion. Well deserving. very surprised with the Kevin Owens and Rollins match. Um, Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins match. Uh, I I don't know what I expected of it, but they had a hell of a fight, and Owens gets a huge moment and a big win. So that gives us kind of a sour Rollins on Monday, which I'm into that. I'm looking forward to see where that goes. I also get the feeling that maybe his faction might grow. We were talking about this after the Nas episode of Deprogrammed. And strangely enough, the tag teams started surfacing. Cedric Alexander and Ricochet as a team. Ooh, that could be fun. That could be a lot of fun, and it could get Cedric on TV again on a regular basis. I mentioned before, Ricochet underused maybe a little bit. I do feel like, he's still on TV and he gets a really big, like, people like Ricochet. So I don't underused, maybe. But Cedric is criminally underused. Criminally. And they could be a really fun team. Yes, I think No Crowd actually benefited Seth and KO and RKO and Edge, which is funny. I've seen a lot of people say the opposite for Edge and Orton. I loved it. It's exactly what it needed to be. It was a blood feud going into this, and they fought everywhere. Like, that's what you want out of it. Some people have been saying that it was boring and too long. I mean, it was a 40-minute fight from a 46-year-old man back. Like, I don't know if maybe they just never bought into the story, because I bought in. Dude was gone for 9 years, and I about cried when Orton RKO'd him and hit him with a concerto. So yeah, I was ready for that match. I thought it was great. Night 2 to me was better than night 1, and I think half of that, seriously, is because that Universal Championship match. I'm sorry, I keep dumping on it. I'm sorry, but like, it's the one thing I think about from that night that I'm like, everything else was, well, no, okay, that's too far to act like everything was great. No, but it was very different Mania. Let's talk about this real quick, because I kind of just put it out there. There was night 1, night 2. God, I hope that's something they adopt going forward, because 2, 3-ish, 3.5 hour nights, way better than 1 7-hour night. Good Lord, please adopt that. I would love a takeover on Friday, night 1 WrestleMania Saturday, night 2 WrestleMania Sunday. Like, or incorporate the takeover matches into WrestleMania. I'd also be way into that. But that, it was so much more manageable. I didn't feel exhausted. I was able to pay attention to all the matches. So yeah, like, let's adopt that if we can, starting next year. And God, please, I hope everything is back to normal, because I would love to go to Los Angeles and go to WrestleMania next year. I said that for Tampa. I said that for New York. I said that for New Orleans. Yeah. Maybe your boy can finally get to a WrestleMania this year. That would be great. Or next year, rather. Shoot. I don't know what's going to happen Monday or August. What's ironic is I watched Mania on Monday. I watched part 1 and was like, damn, I have to watch part 2 now. See? And it worked. And okay, so I just want to make sure I touch on everything before we get into the matches. Let's see. There was no U.S. Championship. Solid matchup between Street Profits and Angel Garza and Austin Theory. I like Garza and Theory as a team. I think they're a lot of fun, a lot of possibility there. Street Profits, I be loving. Didn't feel Mania, which, maybe that's on me. But yeah, at the very end, Zelina Vega putting the boots to everybody, to Tez, really, and then Bianca Belair showing her face. That was awesome. Joe. So I sat for 6.5 hours and watched it, but 2 parts was more manageable than one long show. Yeah, well, because when it's one long show, it feels like you have to just keep watching. You like if it's 2 parts, you can step away for a second. It doesn't feel as continuous. Uh, let's see, what other matches am I missing? We briefly talked about Bailey retaining. It looks like, as I thought, that is the vehicle to kind of just start putting the wedge between Sasha and Bailey. I'm not sure who's going which way. It felt like Bailey might remain the bad guy through it, and Sasha might start coming back towards the good side through it. I will get there. I promise. I'm saving those matches. You know what I'm talking about, Joe. Those matches for last. Saving those for last because those are I don't have a lot to say, but yeah. Um let's see. Where was I? Bailey retaining, and it looks like they're setting the stage for Bailey and Sasha finally. I don't know when they'll get to it, but the table's being set. Great showing from Tamina, which is great, but also a weird bummer because, like, I feel like every time she does get a chance to shine, she does well, but then it goes away like weeks later. She's always in these like multi-woman matches. She handles her business, and then it's gone. Joe says Corbin. Yeah, Corbin and Elias wasn't great. I didn't expect much of it, so it's for me. It's hard to care. I love Elias, and I hope for something great for him. But there you have it. It is what it is. Let's see. If your boy was smart. Oh, I am somewhat smart. I put the again. I guess the takeaway really is the idea of it being no crowd was weird. Where's the actual card? Here we go. Results. Cesaro, Gulak. Talked about Bliss Cross Applesauce. Elias. Becky Lynch with a shocker retaining against Shayna Baszler. If you would have asked me before everything started going down, I would have told you 100% Shayna was winning the championship. But TV, again, kind of gave it away. Like, the story is Ronda. The story is going to be Ronda. Now, I don't know, are we getting to Becky and Ronda for the title, or are we setting it up for Ronda to step in and fight Shayna? Because Nia Jax made her return on Monday, and we still haven't gotten Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax one-on-one for the championship. That's the real thing. Is there's still more to do? Like, I saw a complaint from, was it not Meltzer, but the other dude, Alvarez. Cool. So Becky Lynch walked through the whole division, including Shayna Baszler. Yeah. Cool. I'm with it. Because there's still more. She still hasn't beaten Ronda, and she still hasn't beaten Nia. So, and now we know Nia's on Raw, and she adopted Paige's old finisher. So I'm with it. The Paige Turner, is that what she called it? We talked about the weird triple threat ladder match for the SmackDown Championships. We talked about Owens and Rollins. Owens getting his moment. The garbage that was Strowman and Goldberg. Liv defeated Natty. We talked about that. Charlotte Flair. I briefly talked about that. This was a great match. A great reminder that Charlotte is a wonderful technician. And she wins the NXT Championship for the second time. I'm very curious about that because, number one, there's a ton of matchups that I want to see. Now, she's said that she wants to defend it across brands, so like making it like a television championship, which I'm not against, but I'm very curious to see where that goes. Aleister Black defeated Bobby Lashley. And again, a lot of people going, why? Well, number one, sometimes you got to showcase somebody. This is just a showcase match. And it also served as a purpose to push Bobby Lashley and Lana, what they're going to be doing from going forward, because clearly that whole thing is breaking apart. So there was a reason. I mean, it was flimsy, but sometimes you just got to showcase. Sometimes you're just getting people on Mania. Otis defeats Ziggler. Again, was this some great match? No. Awesome WrestleMania moment with Otis carrying Mandy off. Edge defeated Orton. We talked about that. That's interesting too, because if Edge winning means he's sticking around, right? Has to. I don't see him being like a full-time player, but he's. Are we going to see Edge versus some current talent, some current Raw talent? Oh my God, I'm with it. I want to see Edge wrestle everybody. Like, yes, please, dude. Edge and Rollins, I'm with that. Edge and Aleister Black, yeah, I'm with that. Shoot, Edge and Bobby Lashley. I know Bobby Lashley isn't new talent, but I'm with that. Let's see. We talked about Street Profits, Bailey. All right, and then McIntyre defeats Brock Lesnar, and McIntyre defeats Big Show. So that brings us to the main event of night one was the Boneyard match. Now, when AJ says, we're going to have a Boneyard match, I'm like, what is a Boneyard match? I assume it's probably some sort of graveyard match. I guess they're just working on the phrasing of it to not scare kids or something. My expectations were pretty low. Not only did the Boneyard match exceed expectations, it was great, and it was easily the match in night one. And honestly, it could have stolen the entire weekend if it wasn't for the other match that we're going to talk about. Yeah, they probably can't say Buried Alive, I assume, which was a cool way to bring it back. They made it. They made so. I mean, on paper, in 2020, you see The Undertaker versus AJ Styles. I was like, I don't know, man. Like, in theory, it could be great because AJ rules and The Undertaker has the ability to do great. But like, I was thinking going in, like, when's the last really great Undertaker match though? Because every time he shows up, it's passable, and it's here we have the spectacle of what the Dead Man is. But yes, Joe, the mix of Dead Man and Biker Taker was exactly what I needed. This Undertaker, I didn't know that I needed this Undertaker until I had this Undertaker. Him just talking Cash S the entire time was wonderful, and just whooping his ass like all over the graveyard. I didn't know I needed that, and like 2-3 minutes in, I'm like, oh no, I'm in. This is great. I love this. And then you take the idea of like all the production that they did and everything, and it was just a lot of fun. And it wasn't some wrestling clinic, no, but it was the thing that I enjoyed the most from night one. Is that something I want all the time? No, but if you can incorporate that in moderation with some of like the bigger feuds, I think it could be great. It does stink that you've now officially lost Matt Hardy, who is great at these kind of matches, but clearly they had the ability without Matt. That's where Matt excels. So it stinks that you lost him to AEW on this. So Undertaker defeats AJ Styles, buries him alive, and I'm like, okay, so that just stole the weekend, right? Like it blew everything else away. As much as I enjoyed everything on night one, it blew everything else on night one away. It was great. So I was like, okay, well, this ignites my excitement for what a Firefly Funhouse match can be. I feel like they have something in them, right? Something cool can happen here, and boy, did it ever. I hesitate to say it blew the Boneyard match away, but it did. In my humble opinion, it did, because there's more that comes out of the Firefly Funhouse match than Boneyard match. The Boneyard match was basically kind of contained in and of itself and pretty much puts the rivalry away. The Firefly Funhouse match is setting up what's next for Cena. Not necessarily Cena Wyatt, though there might be more there, but definitely what's next for John Cena. And the one thing it took, I don't know why, but it took me until a couple days before Mania to go, this could be really good, because everybody who wrestles the Fiend specifically comes out different. Dana Bryan, The Miz, well, The Miz didn't wrestle a Fiend, but he had an altercation with the Fiend. Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, and they're all in better places now too. John Cena, I'm not saying he's going to be a bad guy out of this, but hot damn if it doesn't seem like that's a possibility. The mind effery, the whole thing, Cena was like, he's not in my head. Like, he thinks I'm scared of him. I'm not. And for Bray just to, like, boom, you let me in? Oh, it's over now. And I just love the moment where Cena's, like, losing his S, where he was supposed to hit him with the chair at 30 and make Bray Wyatt, and he didn't. But he finally loses his S on him. And he disappears, and then the Fiend shows up behind Cena. And it was great. Like, Cena finally turns around, mandible claw, and starts putting him away. The whole thing took place in your head. That was the thing. Like, it was well done. It was the best thing I could hope for from a Firefly Funhouse match. To me, it easily stole the weekend. Bray Wyatt gets a huge win that he desperately needed. And screw the Universal Championship, honestly. The Fiend never really needed that. Yes, bud. I'm live right now.
I'm towards the size of Mom's neck.
What? Okay. All right, bud. It definitely stole the weekend. It was easily my favorite match of the night, or both nights. And it was just, so here's the thing. WrestleMania 36 definitely far exceeded my expectations, especially after it didn't meet my expectations of what I wanted from WrestleMania before all this, but it definitely exceeded all my expectations I had of it once I realized what it was going to have to be, if that makes sense. It was far better than it had any right being, but it was still not some amazing WrestleMania, if that makes sense. So, I don't know. I guess it probably because of how great the Firefly Funhouse and Boneyard matches were, it probably sneaks towards the middle of the pack for me. It's definitely not in my top 3 or 5, but it's definitely not one of the worst ever. Like, that's all I can really say about it, is I think it far exceeded what it should have been. And coming out of it, important things, 2 days, I think if they can do that from now on, please do. And the idea of throwing in a Boneyard match and a Firefly Funhouse match is great. Also, congratulations to Vince, WWE, and everyone involved for literally putting this event on. And that was the thing. I saw a lot of bitching. I mean, which is the thing people do, but I prone to plus hour days for a lot of people to make this happen, considering the restrictions in place. Yep. I saw some gripes about the idea of 2 different or both days had the same intro. I was like, that's a weird complaint. Most of the complaints were just weird. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, I agree that the Raws and SmackDowns leading up weren't great, but to come after WrestleMania, the WrestleMania that they were able to put together with the restrictions, I don't get it. And I don't want to get into it. I really don't want to get into it. But I will say this, that all the empty arena promos have been awesome, like from all companies. Ronald sent me Cody Rhodes from a couple weeks ago, which for whatever reason he said was the reason I should be watching AEW. But all of the empty arena promos, I think hopefully WWE's learning that if you just let the people go out and say and be themselves, because that's what that was a lot of veterans just doing what they know how to do. Orton, Edge, Rollins crushing Owens, like all of them just top notch. So yes, Cena, Wyatt, of course, clearly. So I'm curious to see what they do from here, because like I said, I was not against the idea of them kind of going, okay, we're going to just take a break and we'll pick this back up whenever like the world kind of returns to normal. But they're not doing that. Far be it for Vince to kind of roll over and say, okay, we're not going to do this. I'm curious. Monday's Raw was really good. It wasn't what the Raws have been. They had a lot more matches, which, again, I understand the circumstances, and even a lot of the Raws going into WrestleMania usually is usually been the idea of like the go home stuff where they're not doing as many matches. It's a lot more promos. It's a lot more recaps and stuff. That's usually what they do to kind of give everybody a break going into WrestleMania. Other than a few like big things that, you know, ratchet up the excitement. So we didn't have that this year. Whereas coming out, they kind of were like, okay, so let's go balls out. So I mean, if the trend of what they did this last Monday continues, I will continue to watch Raw. But if it goes back to what it was before Mania, I will probably not be watching Raw. That's just the way it is. And with that, I probably just won't be watching wrestling because I don't know, man. Like, it just depends. It really just depends. I have all the time in the world right now, but I also have zero time. Like, that's why I made myself do this show today, because I haven't been. We had a big event. There's something to talk about, but I don't have a lot of time for wrestling right now. So, like, it's like I don't know that I want... If I have nothing to talk about, I'm not going to do the show. That's just what it is, man. All right. It was a lot of fun talking with you guys about WrestleMania. As always, if you're watching this at a later time or you're listening to the pod, feel free to reach out to us at WrestlePals. Also, remember, especially in this time where you can't go to the gym, bring the gym to you. Hard Work Works, $10 a month. And all your Joe will... All you have to do is download the app. Let me bring up the app. I'm going to bring up the app and show it to you. I'm going to show you this app. You understand, if you will. Oh, phone, making decisions for me. How dare you? How dare you? Hard Work Works fitness app in your app store, Google Play, wherever you be getting your apps. I need a new phone. That sucks. Because whenever the memory, it's deciding which apps to delete. And for whatever reason, I have to 2-week free trial right now is what Joe says. 2-week free trial to try out Hard Work Works Fitness. And for 2 weeks, check it out. You get your workouts, get your workout on. Oh, it's updating. but that's what it looks like. Whenever you start, 2 weeks free. And you get 10 workouts. And it's commitment free, baby. Here, check this out. Blam. Hard Work Works Fitness. Come on. Well, my internet is slow right now. Look at all these. Look at all these. You can't really see that. Body weight workouts. Your boy's gonna get in shape. Your boy's gonna do it, and Hard Work Works is gonna help me do it. So let it help you too. Why not, baby? Hard Work Works fitness app. Download it. $10 a month. 2-week free trial currently. Hashtag join the hustle, baby. Love you, Joe. And thanks everybody for stopping in today. Let me grab my guitar, right? I don't know what I'm going to play. What should I play? Should I play like a real song? Wake up at the end of a long, dark, lonely year, springing out the worst in me. I hear your voice start breaking in fear when the lights go down, and I still feel you looking over my shoulder, sinking guilt and approaching nightmare. Now I know none of us will survive, 'cause I know everything. Alright. All right, guys. I'm not going to play that whole song. Download Bell and Dubs on whatever podcast platform. Download hashtag WrestlePause on whatever podcast platform. If you like to watch the show, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Actually, definitely get in on the Twitch because I'm trying to do a lot more streaming for that too. I don't know how you guys feel. Stay safe out there, and that's going to do it, right? So, bye-bye, everybody.